dear viewers, and welcome to our show, Diet Myths. Today we're going to be talking to you about a very controversial topic, and I've heard a lot of people complain about it, and that's foods that bloat. So a lot of us, eat our favorite foods and have our favorite meals, and then shortly after, we feel bloated, we feel groggy, we have this upset stomach with cramps, and we really don't feel good about ourselves. And we're probably not sure as to what foods are contributing to this bloating. So what foods are actually upsetting us? Many researchers have done research on foods that could bloat and cause cramps, and they came up with the term FODMAPs. Now, FODMAPs covers a large variety of foods. From them are beans and fruits, as well as sugar alcohols. So today we're going to be covering these foods, and we're going to give you alternatives to maybe foods that have lower FODMAP value in them so they don't bloat you as much. Let's start with the infamous beans. So I'm sure all of you can associate beans with bloating and, cramping. And of course, it's because beans contain this compound called galactans. And what galactans do is that they bloat the stomach. And the idea behind it is beans contain these amounts of carbohydrates. And the carbohydrates aren't really digested. And so they go to your colon and they become fermented, because that's what happens when you don't digest food. And with that, they release gas, causing you to bloat. Now, beans are not something we really want you to cut out of your diet because they contain a great amount of protein, a lot of dietary fiber, and they're just very healthy. They have a lot of, minerals and vitamins that you need. So what I suggest you do is either you soak your beans for a long time and keep changing the water in the beans frequently, or maybe you can switch to pinto or black beans. If you're looking at lentils, then maybe switch to lighter colored lentils because they do contain less fiber in them. Stay tuned because we have more foods to cover for you. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So we've taken a look at beans and how we can lessen the amount of bloating that we can get from them. Sometimes though, it's not a single food item that could contribute to this bloating. Sometimes it's the way we cook food, the spices that we add, which brings us to onion and garlic. Now, a lot of us in a lot of our foods, we add a lot of onions and a lot of garlic to enhance the flavor of the food. But sometimes that could be the reason why you're bloated or you feel like you have an upset stomach. Now, onions and garlics contain this compound called fructans. And again, they're also not properly digested, and so they become fermented and they release this gas. So what you should do with that is either cook the onion and the garlic properly. This will lessen the amount of bloating that you could get from them. So try not to eat them raw. I mean, in a salad where you're having raw garlic or raw onion in a salad or a sandwich, if you do realize you're becoming bloated after it, then maybe you're a bit sensitive to the fructans. So just make sure it's always cooked onions and cooked garlic. This also brings me to the vegetables that can cause bloating, and that includes like the broccoli and the cauliflower. And of course, with these vegetables, like the onion and garlic, you should cook them. So the longer you cook them, the more you break down the sugars and the compounds in them, and therefore they don't bloat you as much as you expect them to. Of course, you can always add spices. Cumin is very well known for reducing bloating, as well as mint. It's very well known to have after a meal that could have these bloating properties, and mint will calm down your digestive tract and will make you feel more at ease. Another really big culprit of bloating is ingesting too much gas. So we want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to talk to you about ways you're indirectly ingesting too much gas into your body. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So like we said, sometimes we end up ingesting too much gas or too much air without noticing. And that comes with two things. Chewing gum, because you just keep your mouth open, and so then you're taking in so much gas. And a lot of times before you notice it, you're bloated and you feel like you have cramps. So it's nothing to be worried about. It's just the act of chewing the gum where you let in so much air and gas that actually ends up bloating you. Another thing that could be bloating you about the chewing gum is the sugar alcohol content in it. So sugar alcohol, and that is any substance you'll find in the ingredient list that ends in an O and an L. So OL will indicate that this type of sweetener is a sugar alcohol, will bloat you, and it's been known to bloat people, and for other people it's actually been known to cause diarrhea. So you need to be careful about how much sugar alcohol you're ingesting. You could switch to stevia, which is a plant-based sweetener, and I believe a lot of companies right now are switching to sweetening their chewing gum with stevia. But then again, the act of chewing gum itself will cause you to bloat, and it does that with a lot of people. Another thing is taking carbonated beverages. So all these carbonated beverages already have gas bubbles in them, and so when you drink them, you end up being bloated. It's definitely a temporary thing. You will de-bloat once it's out of your digestive system, but it could upset some people. And talking about some foods upsetting some people, one of the major causes of being bloated is lactose. So a lot of us don't realize that we could possibly be lactose intolerant. And lactose is the sugar found in milk in particular. So if you do feel that once you have milk, whether it is cold or warm, that you get bloated, then stop drinking milk that contains lactose and look for a lactose-free alternative. Yogurt is a great one that has a lessened amount of lactose in it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and benefited from it, and we'll see you all next time. Hello, our dear viewers, and welcome to our show, Diet Myths. Today we're going to be talking to you about nutrition labels. So a lot of us, really care about what we're eating, and the first thing we do when we pick up a packaged food item is look at the nutrition label. Now, nutrition labels can be very tricky, and especially when you don't know how to read them or you don't know where to start with reading them. So today we're going to cover key points for you to look at when you're looking at a nutrition label. Hopefully it will make it easier for you to read through them and understand them better.
The Nutrition Facts label. Look for it and use it. Information you need to make healthy choices throughout your day. Found on packaged foods and beverages. Use it to compare foods. Consider the calories. If you consume more calories than you burn, you gain weight. 400 calories or more per serving is high. 100 calories per serving is moderate. Check serving size and servings per container. Check the serving size on food packages. The information listed on the Nutrition Facts label is based on one serving. 2 servings equal calories times 2. One package may contain more than 1 serving. If you eat multiple servings, you're getting multiples on calories and nutrients too. Choose nutrients wisely. Nutrients to get more of. Get 100% DV of these: calcium, dietary fiber, iron, vitamins A and C. Nutrients to get less of. Get less than 100% DV of these: cholesterol, saturated fat, sodium, sugars, trans fat. Sugars and trans fat have no percent DV. Use grams to compare. To meet these goals, eat a variety of foods, including fruits and vegetables, whole grains, fat-free or low-fat milk, milk products, lean meats and poultry, eggs, seafood, beans and peas, soy products, unsalted nuts and seeds. Use percent DV to compare. When comparing nutrients in foods, use percent DV. Percent DV equals percent daily value. Percent DV is based on daily values, the amounts of nutrients recommended for Americans aged 4 and older to eat every day. 5% DV or less per serving is low. 20% DV or more per serving is high.
So the first thing I want you to do when you look at a nutrition label is look at the serving size. So serving size will indicate how much the company assumes one serving is. For something like cereal, serving size could be listed in grams. So they could say something like 20 grams or 3/4 of a cup. For something like a fluid, it could be 1 can, 1 cup, or 250 ml. So it's really very important for you to look at what the serving size is and hopefully, be able to picture what that serving size looks like. For a lot of companies, they put the weight in grams, which of course can be tricky for all of us to decide how much that will really be. As long as there is some form of measurement, just take a look at it and keep a mental note. Then what I want you to look is how many servings there are per container. So something like a box of cereal could contain 6, 7, 8, even 11 servings. Because if a serving size is 1 cup, then they could probably have somewhere around 11 to 13 cups in that box. So if you decide to eat the entire box of cereal, then you need to multiply all the information listed on the food label by 11 or by however number of servings are in that container. If there's only 1 serving per container, then it's just easy because the numbers you have there will indicate really how much there is in that container. There's more to cover on food labels, so please stay tuned and we'll see you soon. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So now that we've looked at the servings and the serving size and how many servings are in the container, let's look at the actual nutrition fact of however many that serving size is. So the first thing that you will have listed is the energy. Energy refers to calories. So basically how many calories it will take from you or from your daily requirement. Usually energy is either listed in kilojoules, so kJ, or kilocalories, so kcal. I want you to look at the kcal amount. The kJ amount is just a very scientific number that we really don't focus on. So the kilocalorie amount or the kcal amount will tell you how much amount you're consuming from your daily needs. Now, when they created the nutrition label, they did it based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So in 1997, they did this survey and they surveyed people in America and they realized on average they consume 2,000 calories. So to the right of your nutrition label, you will see percentages listed. So percentages listed for carbohydrates, for proteins, and for fat. These percentages refer to how much percent they take up from the 2,000 calorie diet. So if something contained 500 calories from carbohydrate, it would probably take up 25% of a 2,000 calorie diet. So you'll see a 25% next to it. Now, when you're looking at these percentages, anything below 5% is considered low. So if the number next to fat is 4%, then you can say that this is a low fat item. Now, anything above 20% is considered high. So if something contained 20% next to the fat or the protein, then it's a high fat or high protein item. There's still a couple more things to cover on the nutrition label, so please stay tuned. Welcome back, our dear viewers. So let's take a look at other factors that are really important in the nutrition label. So one of them is, for example, the carbohydrates. A lot of people focus on the carbohydrates. Now you'll see under carbohydrates something listed as total sugar. I really don't want you to pay attention to the total sugar or things like total fat because they don't indicate where the sugar or where the fat is coming from. So we don't know the source. If it is like an apple, for example, the total sugar is actually a natural source. It's from fructose, so we don't have a problem with that. But if it's an added sugar, that's where we have an issue. So with these food or labels, what I want you to do is look at the ingredient list. This is really the biggest indication to telling you what you're eating and what it contains. Now, ingredient lists are listed by weight. So the highest weighted item will be listed first, meaning the most ingredient in that food item will be listed first. If sugar is one of the first 3 to 5 items in the ingredient list, then you know that it has a lot of added sugar. But when sugar is not listed there, then you know it's a natural source. They haven't added it. It's not part of the ingredients. So it's really gives you a guide to think, okay, is this a good food item or not? Sometimes you don't need to, look at the caloric amount, so the calories or the kcal, because they really don't tell you what you're getting in. To me, the key is the ingredient list. And I try to make sure that I can understand or read the first 3 to 5 ingredients. So they make sense to me, I know where they come from, and I know what they are. Then I know that what I'm eating is actually a real food item. And that is more important than the distribution of the calories, because the distribution of the calories can come from any source and don't really indicate whether this is a good food source for you or not. So I really hope that gives you a perspective on the food label and gives you a guide as to what to look at. Honestly, for me, if I'm looking at the food label, as long as the ingredients look good, then I'm fine. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you all next time.